Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and today I'm here to tell you about some of the books that I hope to read in June. June is always a very exciting month because it means the school year will finally be done and I will have a couple of months off to read as much and whatever I would like. So that being said, I have a relatively small TBR here because these are books that I know I definitely want to get to, but I also want to leave it fairly open so I can read whatever else I feel like. Firstly, as you know, I always try to read one classic per month, and this month I hope to at least start working my way through The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This has been on my TBR bucket list for ages, and especially now, as I will finally, once I have finished reading it, be able to ask my coworker Heidi for all sorts of reading lesson ideas, as she will finally be able to tell me about the lessons that she planned without being afraid of spoiling major plot points of this novel. Her French 3 or French 4 students read a highly abridged version of this book. Once again, apologies if you can hear my neighbor's lawn service in the background. I thought they had stopped. They clearly haven't. But I have no time, I'm going to carry on. This is a book about Edmond Dantes, who is framed for a crime he did not commit. Of course, that's what being framed is. And is imprisoned for many years for it. And when he eventually gets out, he then goes about trying to exact revenge on those who framed him. I've heard nothing but fabulous things from anyone who has managed to read it, so I'm really excited to read it for myself. As my non-fiction book for the month, I hope to read Best Foot Forward by Adam Hills. Adam Hills is one of my favorite comedians. He is very funny and just ultimately so positive and so kind, and I think that's what I love most about his comedy. And so I was thrilled a few months ago to discover that he had written a book. So of course I bought the book. I can't buy his DVDs because they won't function here in the US, but I can buy his book. And it is, I believe, his memoir about growing up, how he got into comedy, and what his favorite and worst experiences have been. And in case you're unfamiliar with him, Adam Hills lost his right foot at birth, so he has a variety of prosthetics that he tends to wear, hence the microphone stand and hence the pun in the title. Then there are some books that I know I absolutely want to read this month. The first is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Philyaw. This, I believe, is a collection of short stories about a variety of women growing up in the church and occasionally their disillusionment with the church, their journeys of self-discovery. And I have heard nothing but fantastic things from anyone who has read it, so I am thrilled to find out for myself. I also bought a copy of My Policeman, #1 because the story sounds wonderful, and #2 with Harry Styles going to be in the film. All of my children that I teach are going to be reading it or watching it and thus talking about it, so it behooves me to know what's going on. This is the story of Marion, Patrick, and Tom, and how Tom marries Marion to cover up his relationship with Patrick. And it's how the three of them negotiate that relationship in the 1950s, when homosexuality was still illegal in the UK, and given the fact that Tom is himself a policeman. And it sounds very sad, but also really wonderful, and I can't wait to read this. I also need some fun romance in my life, so in that vein, I hope to read A Single Thread of Moonlight by Laura Wood, which I have heard described in so many ways. It takes place, I believe, at the end of the 19th century. It's been described as a Cinderella sort of story, Cinderella, but also with a revenge twist. I don't even know, but it sounds wonderful, and I have loved two of Laura Wood's books. I loved A Sky Painted Gold and Under a Dancing Star, so I'm really, really excited to read this one as well. And finally, I am hoping to read, possibly even at the end of May, Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan, which is not part of the Crazy Rich Asians series. It is, I believe, a standalone. And also, I just found out, is supposed to be a retelling of A Room with a View, which I also love. So I'm really intrigued to see how he does that, while also keeping an eye on the Asian American experience and the struggles that that sometimes brings. How much of your heritage do you honor? How much do you leave behind in order to assimilate? It sounds really, really wonderful, and I can't wait to read it. So, a relatively short TBR from me this month, but that is because I am surrounded by so many other books that I'm sure I will get around to reading. And there will be a book haul probably later this week where you will get to see even more of my potential choices. So be on the lookout for that. What are you planning to read in June? Are you particularly excited about anything? Are you really excited to hear my thoughts on any of these books? Let me know down below, and until next time, be safe, be well, and happy reading. Bye everyone.